Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Insights with Tayo Roko. I'm Gift Akonde, your host for today, and I'm really excited because this is a platform that talk about investment, entrepreneurship, and opportunities. And today we'll be featuring the visionary man himself. Now he's a business strategist, a seasoned entrepreneur, and a role model to many. Please join me welcome engineer Omotayo Oyeroko. Sir, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you for hosting
Mm.
the first episode of this
It's
podcast.
my pleasure.
Yeah.
Now, let's start from the beginning. What really inspired you for this postcard? Insight with oil, retire Europe? Because I know you are a shy person, an
Okay.
introvert. So why having this podcast?
Well, the truth about it is sometimes I'm even confused whether I'm actually an introvert, but usually because I like my own space.
Mhm.
And sometimes because of my work schedule and investment schedules, um, I don't like typing.
Mm.
And even when I type a lot, I do a lot of type errors because
Okay.
I'm always doing it in a rush. So I felt some of my ideas, instead of just writing it in a red box, a podcast like this gives me an opportunity to be able to express myself more and allow people to really understand the context of what I'm trying to say. And
Mm.
it's been set up to really help people when it comes to their entrepreneurship journey.
Okay.
People who want to look into investment and opportunities, which is my area of specialty.
Okay. That is what I thought. Now, on today's episode, I will be talking about the realities of entrepreneurship, how to run it, how to sustain it. Now, let's start from the beginning with you. How did this journey start with you as an entrepreneur? How did you start? How did you handle it?
Okay. Oh, well, for me as an entrepreneur, I would say I've been business minded from a very young age. I think it runs in the family. And at a very young age, I had the opportunity when, my family was going through crisis
Mm-hmm.
to manage um, a family business, which is just a photocopying and printing center. I could remember back then the lady managing it would tell us, oh, there was no money, no sales. And we felt, oh, with all this investment, are you sure there's no money, no sales? And after school, I'll tell my parents, please, after school, let me go there. And I think the first time I went there was even during a holiday.
Okay.
And this woman who will probably tell us she made 100 naira and all that for a whole day. The first day I went there, I made about 750 naira.
Mm. Mm.
And they were shocked. But this woman is always telling us
Yeah.
that she doesn't make
Make
money and
money.
there's nothing happening there. So for me, I've always known that, one of the things I would really love to do is create jobs. Having had a background of a father who had a business who lost it, a
Mm.
mother who was a midwife and a
Mm.
nurse, and because of family issues, she had to start selling plates and cups and spoons to her colleague at work
Mm.
at the back of her car, and all that. So I understood, how that, running one's business or the journey of entrepreneurship, creating jobs, opportunities, were some of the things I would like to do. Though how I would do it, I never really knew. But for me, I would say the whole thought of entrepreneurship started from there.
Okay.
And for me, it's basically, even when I was in school as a student, we all know as students,
The
no matter the amount of
hustle
pocket money your parents give
is never
you, it can
enough.
never be enough.
Never
You know,
enough.
sometimes, restaurants have different grades, especially in
Mm.
school. And sometimes you want to go there. And for me, unfortunately, my parents were abroad.
Mm.
They were still struggling, they were not balanced. And they
Okay.
managed to send me to a school, and unfortunately the school I went to was very, there was a bit of class and all that because we have like 5 different restaurants.
Mm.
And I could remember then, I always felt bad, like it was almost like an insult. Your parents are abroad, it looks like, are they poor? Are they not doing well? And all
Okay.
that. So for me, one of the things I started for me was like, I remember I started a dry cleaning business. You
Okay.
know, at some point my machine broke down. I had to go wash it. The lady gave us, she just came from abroad and made us wash all our laundry, her pant and bra. Trust me, she lived abroad, so she didn't see it as a
That's a
problem.
problem.
So she gave us her pant and bra. I could remember one of the machines I bought broke down. I had to wash everything with my hand.
Mm.
So I did that and it was strange. Even the guy working with me was like, I'm not doing this. I said, no, we have to deliver. I had a football viewing center, which all these businesses, trust me, I struggled. While I was in school, like I said, I also had like a little printer. One thing I learned, I've always known how to spot opportunities, is that I knew the school printer will always break down. Because especially when people are printing assignment, no matter the amount of photocopy around, it will break down.
Always
You know
break
the way
down.
printers were back in the
Yes.
day, they are better
Yes.
now. I had to buy a small printer and my laptop. So people send the assignment to me. I print, I couple in my room, and I go. So I was making a lot of money and all that. So I would say I've been naturally, you know, entrepreneurial. It's something that like I said, I think it runs in the family. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Now, from what you said, you've given us different entrepreneurial businesses you've gone into. But if you want to define yourself right now, career-wise, what do you say you do?
Okay.
Because for what you said, you've mentioned a lot. So I
Yeah.
can't even say, okay, you're into this. But presently, how
Yeah.
do you describe yourself in terms of your career?
Oh, thank you very much for asking that question.
Yeah.
You see, if I want to describe myself right now, I would say I'm more of a strategic investment expert. And the reason is over the years, the last 10 years, I've been able to shape my business in such a way. And I think what people really um, appreciate that I do or we do as a company is the fact that I have a very good eye for investment. I have advised people who had invested, as low as 5 million, and you'll be surprised in 8 years it's turned to over 100 million. And if you look at most of, even the projects I'm involved in, they are very, very strategic. I don't just buy things spontaneously. Even in the diaspora where I invest, a lot of people wonder why I buy a property, for example, at 300,000 pounds, and in 2 years, it's about 450 or 400. While others who bought theirs at 300 is probably about 340. All right. So there's something. So I see myself as a strategic investment expert. So that's how I would define myself. And being a strategic investment expert does not limit me to one business. Although I streamline my business majorly into three sectors, which is like the real estate, construction, and agriculture. Those are really my area of expertise.
Okay, now based on what you said now, you know, this is the present time where you are into real estate, construction, and you mentioned the third one,
Agriculture.
and agriculture. That is present. But if I want to ask another question, before you entered into this new phase, what were you doing before that? Because I know
Okay.
there's definitely a story before all this. So what was that?
Okay. Well, like every young person, immediately after I finished my master's, I decided to work. I worked for a few years,
Mm-hmm.
but while and because I had the opportunity to do my master's abroad, one of the things that even triggered the entrepreneurship journey quickly for me was the fact that while everybody traveled abroad and they were carried away by, and some people go negative, look at this country compared to Nigeria. I didn't see all that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a country that was built by people. I saw a country where people were intentionally creating opportunities for others. For example, my parents took me to the London Eye, what's it called? The London Eye in central London. Said,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you just came around, let's show you around London and all that. And I remember them taking me to the London Eye. And while everybody was trying to buy a ticket and they were fascinated about climbing the London Eye, I remember asking my dad a question. When did they build this? Who built this? Why did I ask that question? Because something in my mind just told me those who built this are no more alive.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the ripple effect of what they built. So while everybody was thinking of using it, I was thinking, how was it made? I was thinking about the legacy of it. Let me shock you. At the end of the day, I was not even interested in climbing it. Immediately I saw the date when it was built. I said, you know what? The person who built this did not build this for himself. He built this for the future. While it was ready, we were trying to get it. I said, don't worry, I'm not climbing it. I just said, I went elsewhere. Can you tell me about this building? You understand? I was not looking at it from being fascinated about it. I was looking at it from some people built this country. We can build our country. So that really even, while I was there, I was working, getting married, I got married and everything. It was very clear that a time will come, whether abroad or in Nigeria, I was going to be an entrepreneur. I was going to be a person creating value. So for me, I was working as a lecturer.
Okay.
It was difficult finding a job abroad. I first worked at Marks and Spencer's. like everybody do, but I knew I didn't belong there.
Mm.
All right. From there, I worked at, then I got a job as a lecturer. Then while working as a lecturer, I started consulting for different companies. So I was more like a lecturer stroke apprentice manager. What that means is that we had different companies because abroad what they do is they while they go to school, they also believe in apprenticeship, like we do the Igbo apprenticeship here, but that comes with education.
Oh,
So you
okay.
do 3 days in school, maybe 2 days at work.
Mm.
All right. So they were doing that, and I was at some point I was managing. I was more like managing the apprentices for these different companies. So they were doing the academic and the practical.
Oh.
So they gave them allowances at the end of the day, and then make them a full staff when they graduate. So they know the rudiments of the job, unlike what we have in Nigeria, where people just go to school and they've never even seen a laptop before. All right. So while I was doing all that, um, I know at a point I got really tired, because the academic in the UK was changing from more of giving value in class to paperwork. Instead, it was more documentation than, and I felt,
Documentations.
no, I want to give value. Even though I was enjoying, I was producing engineers for the UK. And at a point I told myself, I said, how can I be producing engineers for the UK?
Yeah,
Can
no
I not go
duties.
back to my country
Exactly.
and produce engineers? Because like some people will say subtle racism, there was a cap on growth and everything. I said, you know what, if I do half of this in my country, I'll be valued. And knowing how much I was passionate about giving back to Nigeria. So I worked with a lot of engineering companies, British Airways, GlaxoSmithKline, but I worked with them under the apprenticeship. So I had the opportunity of not just working with one company, I was
Okay.
working with like 20 companies together
Hmm.
because they had maybe two apprentices. So we had like them come together, under the apprenticeship scheme, and I was working with them. So I had the opportunities to know what MBD is doing, those making the bombs, the guns, the bullets. I knew what they were doing, those in the airline, GlaxoSmithKline. So it really opened my eyes to so many things. I was not just
Mm.
working with one multinational, I was
Mm.
working with several multinational through the apprenticeship scheme. Yeah,
Hmm.
so that was what I was doing initially.
Okay. This is brilliant because now from what you said, if I want to put it from just a different perspective, they'll be like, okay, he was a lecturer, he had other opportunities in the UK, but yet he didn't settle with that lifestyle. So you transitioning from that opportunities you have in the UK, the lecturing and the other jobs you did, coming to Nigeria to invest, coming to Nigeria, or should I say investing in Nigeria, I'm sure it really brought a change family-wise, your partner and everything. Because if I want to see it in my own way, I feel like that lifestyle is comfortable. Why do you still want to be involved with things, the affairs in Nigeria? So how do your partner, how do your family accept this change, this dream you want to because of your passion to bring change, to bring value in Nigeria? How did they accept it? How was that? How was that journey?
Well, before I answer that question, I'll tell you a very
Hmm.
interesting story.
Okay.
But before also the story, I'll also say while I was in the UK, I was technically also an entrepreneur because, like I
Okay.
said, while I was working in Mark and Spencer and the salary was not really good, I was earning just about £400 as a student who could not even pay for my room
Mm.
then because I schooled in London, and I was already selling on eBay. Like I said, the entrepreneurship thing was there. I was
Okay.
not
Okay.
okay with just being okay. I wanted to do more.
Okay.
So I was buying things from China on Alibaba and the rest of them. When it initially came out, though I was duped a lot on Alibaba, trust me. But I would buy things, I would lose money. I'll be like, so there are fake people on this Alibaba too, and all that. Thank God we now have AliExpress and
Yes, no,
other
it's not better now.
platforms like Temu and
Platforms,
all that. Before, there were all kind of people on
the
Alibaba.
scam.
So I would buy things and I would sell on eBay. So that was how I was augmenting. So
Okay.
before even my wife met me, she knew I was already an entrepreneur. So the shocking part of the story is that when I met my wife, she knew I was entrepreneurial. But my wife always joke about something to date like, you didn't tell me all this, or we didn't discuss all this when, while
While
we were dating, you
dating
did
and
not
all.
tell me it would be like this, or it will be
Mm-mm-mm.
great, She still always joke about it, even
But
though she's very supportive today. But even though I told her, But sometimes the vision becomes bigger than you, and it keeps expanding. And thank God for a very supportive woman. She, we look at how to balance things. But for family, it wasn't easy because initially, before I left my job, I did not just leave my job. I did something I want people to learn from. It's called keeping in touch,
Okay.
which, hopefully I'll be able to talk about more in future. When I was trying to relocate back to Nigeria, I did not just leave my wife and children, pack my bag and leave. No. I did something called keeping in touch. My job gave me about, because I was a lecturer, we have more holidays. Like when the students are on holiday, we have the opportunity to get holidays. But I still had like 30 or 28 days holiday. So what do I do? Sometimes, because we have 2 weeks holiday, yeah, I will leave on Friday from work, just get it to pack my bag on a Thursday, Wednesday. Pack my bag. Friday, just say hello to my wife. When I say hello, give herself a hug, eat something quickly, and I drive straight to the airport. So that I can get that Saturday, Sunday additional, because I may be arriving on Sunday to resume on Monday. So I was doing something called keeping in touch. Let me shock you. Before I even did that, and before I even got married, I was already sending things to Nigeria. All right. So when I eventually got married, I told my wife, we started with keeping in touch. So I was into construction and all that. So I had staff. I'll quickly come and do that. So I'll get like 10, 12 days window, 14 days window. I'll be on site, do so many things, drive around, even in the middle of the night. I was keeping in touch. So something then happened. I went for a training by my alumni university, and I met this white guy who told us how we left and followed he was into art and all that, and now we followed. And I could remember when I spoke to him one-on-one after the event, he said, Tayo, if you really want to do this, you need to decide when you are going to retire or leave your job. You see, if you keep doing this, keeping in touch, yeah, it's a good model. I did it for like 2, 3 years. If you really know you want to pursue this your passion or this your dream, I don't like using the word passion because trust me, passion can change. I believe passion can change. But if you really want to follow your dream of being an entrepreneur, you need to tell your day the last day you are going to resign. So I thought about it like, he said, put a date on it. Take that risk. Write this date and go. So for me, I told my wife, I think we need to make that decision. So for it wasn't easy, I'll be very honest. But like I said, the keeping in touch helped. So she knew that this guy, as he's expanding, he seems to be spending more time in Nigeria. So there was coping mechanism for us. Sometimes she had to also learn to come to Nigeria, even if it's just for 1 week window to spend time with me. So I won't say till now it's fair on the family or it's easy, but they were practical. We were very intentional how to manage it. I think what really broke the camel's back and proved to my wife that your husband may not be around for 6 months and you have to get used to it, which I don't even do to date. I think maybe every 6 weeks or 1 month I have to go and see my family.
Okay.
But it was during COVID. COVID changed a lot of things for us. I think I was locked down in Nigeria when I came.
Okay.
So the lockdown made me stay
Longer.
in Nigeria for almost 7, 8 months.
Okay.
So when they opened the airport, they'll be like, oh, if you want to travel, let me shock you. I don't think that time I was even a British citizen yet. All right. I don't think I had another passport. So when they were saying, oh, people foreign whatever to travel, I don't think I really qualified. I think they were taking residents. But for some reason, I wasn't ready. People will go to the airport, they are not sure they will fly, they will come. I said, you know what, let me just wait. All right. So for me, I was in that period where when COVID happened, I was locked down in Nigeria for 7 months or so. So when the window came, I left. We were communicating, we were doing video calls and all that. I'm like, oh, you know what? Since I've stayed in Nigeria for 6 months, so now when I tell my wife I'm going for 2 months, the COVID not lucky for
for that
for
long.
7. So it was like a good and bad period for. So it was a game changer that made us realize that you know what, we will not die. 6 weeks, sometimes 2 months, but sometimes I don't want it to be up to that. This is a month to 6 weeks. So it was tough because all through the first 3, 4 years, I was spending my family savings because we're not making money.
Mm.
All right. So it was more of oh darling, please just believe me, this is our savings. It will work, it will work, And it was tough. Trust me.
So you made a statement. You
Yeah.
said that few you guys were not making money.
No
You
money.
explained. What do you mean we're not making money?
There was no profit because I had nothing. For example, we're into construction first.
Mm-hmm.
So I was selling for a particular real estate company where I sold between 100 to 300 if I look at the ones I sold for their agent, and I never collected a commission for once.
Mm.
All right. So there was no commission coming in to augment for my ticket because I
Okay.
had a model, and the model was, you know what? I noticed people were helping them, introducing them to people abroad, and they'll start arguing on 100,000, 200,000 commission. Then I hear them insulting them. Look at the man, he's abroad. He's fighting over 50K. I found it
Mm.
insulting,
The
but I said, you know what?
mentality that Niger
If they are
mentality.
saying this in my presence, what will they say behind me? You know what? I'm not going to use this strategy. If I'm able to sell 100 plots, even if it's 5 or 10% that build with me, I'll make that money. So I had a model of sacrifice. I was serving. All right. That's why I wrote the book, How to Serve to be Served. All right. I was serving this real estate company. I was building for people and I was not making money because the people that believed me were not the guys who had big money. They were not willing to take risk on me. They were people who would say they were doing like a job contribution.
Okay.
Tayo, we just have £500. Whatever you can do, buy block.
Mm.
So I became like a local, even though we're a construction company,
Okay.
I was like a local builder,
Mm.
helping people to so because I couldn't be showcasing other people's properties. So I had to sacrifice that period so that I have something to showcase. So I started showcasing, oh, we're now doing the foundation. It was people that could not really as a let me not use the word afford me, could not really pay me what I really deserve.
Yeah.
And I was even using some of the profit that should be coming to me just to push the project because I wanted to show something. Sometimes I was using my money
Mm.
that okay, man, you will pay me. Because how can you show a video of foundation and the building did not rise? So you want to say, we took it to window level, man, you are owing us. So we were even giving that some clients will now come, oh, hey, we didn't discuss that. We're losing money. This is what I have. But we were willing to sell. So for us, trust me, the first 4 years were very tough.